Time to round up all the movers and shakers with talkSPORT's chief football correspondent Alex Crook. Morning, Crookie.
Crookie, morning.
Good morning.
Look, Crookie, we were talking there about Tottenham and Daniel Levy, and earlier we talked about Heung-min Son. So, Son leaving Spurs, where is he off to?
Yeah, the end of an era in many ways, and as Son himself has said, probably the perfect way to bow out. 10 years at one club doesn't happen too often, does it, in the modern era? And obviously he went out lifting that Europa League title in Bilbao that you've just been talking about there, and Daniel Levy's comments about that achievement. Off to LAFC. In America, he had interest from Saudi Arabia, but we understand at talkSPORT that a £15 million deal between the two clubs has been agreed, and that will be Son's next destination and probably where he sees out his career. And I have to say, it was quite emotional, him being given a guard of honour by both teams as Tottenham played their pre-season game yesterday.
Crookie, Alexander Isak, so the ball is now back with Liverpool. They've got the ball back in their hands. When are you expecting a follow-up on that offer that was denied the other day?
Well, I think it very much depends on Newcastle being able to source a suitable replacement. We know we broke it on Saturday morning. They've got a bid in Newcastle for Benjamin Šeško at Leipzig. At the moment, I think they're still haggling over the makeup of that £70 million offer, which would be a club record fee for Newcastle, eclipsing the £65 million they paid for Isak. Newcastle due back in the UK today after their tour over in the Far East. We know that Isak has been training away from the North East. He's been in Spain with his old club Real Sociedad, with his own fitness team. Newcastle are expecting him to return to the training ground this week, so it'll be interesting to see if and when that happens. But there were some reports on Friday night that Liverpool were ready to walk away. I don't see that. I don't think you get this far down the road with what would be a British record transfer just to walk away when the first offer is rejected. So I don't think Newcastle fans are out of the woods just yet.
If Liverpool do come back in, is that dependent in any way on the future of Darwin Núñez?
I think it would help. Obviously, they made decent money by selling Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich. Núñez is the other player they're looking to get off the books. Maybe Harvey Elliott as well, if a big offer comes in for him. Napoli was his preferred destination earlier in the summer, but they weren't willing to meet Liverpool's asking price and have since moved on to other targets. Al Hilal, the Saudi team, are now the most advanced in terms of negotiations. I think in an ideal world, Liverpool would want in excess of £60 million for Núñez. Whether Al Hilal are prepared to pay that, I think, is open to debate. What we can say is that he had previously agreed terms with Al Nassr for a big money move, and if Al Hilal are willing to honour those terms, then there's every possibility this move gets done.
Benjamin Šeško, of course, still waiting with both Manchester United and Newcastle United. If I was a fan of either of those two clubs, I want to hear the players saying, I really want to go to X or Y. But any movement on that? How long is it liable to be? Because we're getting close to the start of the new season.
Yeah, we are. And obviously this is the deal, as I mentioned, that could have direct implications for Alexander Isak. So I think Newcastle, having made that bid on Saturday morning, want a quick answer from the player himself. Do you want to come to St James's Park, or do we need to move on to alternative targets? The sense I'm getting is that he's waiting for Manchester United to make their move, and that probably would be his preferred destination. But they need to shift players in order to facilitate that. I know they've offered Rasmus Højlund to RB Leipzig in some kind of exchange deal to try and help this one over the line. For his part, Højlund has made it quite clear. He spoke to reporters in the mix zone. He actually asked, does anyone want to interview me after the game against Bournemouth last week? And said, I want to stay at Manchester United. I want to fight for my place. He said, I'm only 22. There's still more to come from me. So I think he's going to prove a difficult one to shift.
Yeah, and it's just gone crooky, isn't it? Just at the moment, there's a little bit of a lull. It's that there's like a lot of teams posturing and waiting and about to try and conclude a deal. Once one of those big ones happens, then usually others start to roll in after that.
Yeah, we had a bit of a flurry, didn't we, at the start of the window, that sort of extra 10-day window before the Club World Cup. Then it went a bit quiet as that tournament was happening. Then there were more deals done. But you're right, we seem to be talking about the same players day in, day out at the moment. I do expect it to get busy towards the end of the window. Still a lot of clubs who need to do business. People like Fulham even have had a relatively quiet summer so far. David Moyes obviously voiced his frustration. West Ham need players through the door. I know they're trying to work on a goalkeeper as a priority target. But you're right. If this Šeško deal does happen, that could have a domino effect in terms of Isak to Liverpool.
Yeah.
It could also have an impact on Johan Wissa from Brentford to Newcastle. Brentford's stance on him just seemed to be softening over the weekend. Obviously, he's still refusing to train at the moment with the rest of his teammates, which I'm not sure will have gone down well in the dressing room. So, yeah, plenty of business, I think, still to be done. I still think we're going to be talking about a record-breaking summer in terms of money spent.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.